This is A Drink with the Hurricane, the talk show discussing all things growing your home care business. This video is sponsored by Home Care Evolution, where we help home care agencies adapt to changing circumstances, transform their business so that they can thrive for years to come.
So take from column A the tasks that I love and put it in column B. Now you have column C, and column C should be all of the tasks that only you can do. Only the tasks that only you can do. There are certain tasks that everybody has that only you can do in your organization. That's column C. So column A, as a repeat, list all the responsibilities. Column B, take the ones out that you love doing. Column C, take the ones out that truly only you can do. Now, you're going to add column B and C, and going to put that there. These are now my new tasks. There will be tasks left over that didn't make it to column D from column A. That goes to column E, where you see, what is that word? That's something that I have to delegate. And column F is what? Delegate to who? And you do this. And you start with yourself. Now the goal here is you want to make sure that you as the owner have no more than 20 responsibilities. That's the magic number. If I find an owner has more than 20 responsibilities, they're doing too much in their organization, it's time to hire somebody else. Then after you do it for yourself, you start doing it for other people on your organization. You go from yourself to your right-hand person and the next level of commitment, and you do it with everybody. If you get to a point where you find that everybody in your organization is doing 20 or more responsibilities, that's how you know you have to hire another person. Because there's too much responsibility on one person, and that's going to slow your progression and your business growth. On the flip side, if I do this with all of my staff and I find one person only has 9 responsibilities, that's who's going to get all the delegation. And I do this in my own company. I'm sharing this with you. Last year, Home Care Evolution grew by 24%. We're a multi-million-dollar company. We grew by 24% last year. And we had a record year. Part of the reason why we do it is because we're very on top of our task and making sure that nobody's overwhelmed and doing too many responsibilities. Another reason why we do this, folks, is because you don't want anybody to be so valuable to your company that if that person leaves you, you're screwed. That's very important. But this is how you remove yourself from day-to-day operations. There's no reason, except for if you're brand new. All right, if you're brand new, you are just going to have to put that sweat equity in. You're going to work 100 hours for the first 2 to 3 years because that is what it is. But if you've been in business for 3 years, 40 hours. Maybe the occasional week where you work 50 hours, right? I remember one time, I forget when, this was recently, and I came home and I said to my wife, I was like, man, I'm working a lot this week. And she goes, yeah, you worked like 10 hours today. And I was like, it felt like 100, right? Like, it's nuts. Nobody, none of us were born to work. We work so we live. Amen? Amen, right? Next thing you do, now that everybody's got their responsibilities ironed out, we start to identify people that we may need to bring and we're delegating tasks. Now it's time for us to create or really update that good old-fashioned operations manual, right? That operations manual can be deadly if it's not done right. And this slows us down when it comes to onboarding new staff members. Because we always are hiring people, and I know to get the right culture, I love when Dawn talking about the company culture, because when you get the culture right, you start to get good longevity of staff. But until then, it could sometimes be a revolving door, right? And that's hard. But if the operations manual is in place, you can get through that little storm of a season relatively quickly, because you can onboard people, and that manual is proficient. One of the ways that I like to teach people to do it is to have the people who are doing the task create the manual or the hat, we call it, put on a hat. I'm now the painter, I'm now the recruiter, I'm now the scheduler. Whatever task you put on that hat, they're the one that writes out that responsibility. Top column over here, this is just a Google Doc. So don't think this is anything special. You could create, you don't need jazzy, amazing AI, artificial intelligence going to come in, operations manual for me. You don't need that, right? Sheet of paper, right? Write that. Material, what do you need? What software, what computer, whatever it is, the title of the responsibility, and then your steps. And you have them listed 1 through 4, and you can write it out, write out the step here. Use sub-steps to explain in more detail, and even some sub-steps if necessary to show options. Try to be as thorough as possible. And then what I always tell people is I want you to imagine an alien landed from outer space that knows English, and that's it. So you're teaching this alien that knows English how to do the task. So keep it as basic and remedial and elementary as possible. Now once your staff member creates it, this is an example of answering the phone, and all the materials that you need to answer the phone, and all the steps of it, what phone is ringing, have a pen and notepad in hand or an inquiry management sheet, pick up the receiver from the cradle, push the talk button, smile, because people hear a smile through a phone. They definitely do. And then begin your telephone greeting with, Hurricane Marketing Enterprise, this is Steve, how can I help you today? And then what do you do in all these different scenarios over here? That's how I answer the phone in my company, right? And you all can do the same exact thing with this.